Well, last week was one of the toughest weeks to predict. The amount of upsets this week was insane. So if you made picks this week, you probably did not have a very good week. And compared to my season average, 8-6, not a great week. But getting 8 corrects this week shot me up into the top 10,000. So, you take what you can get. So what did I get wrong? Well, of course, 6 wrong, a lot of upsets. Starting with Thursday night, who would have thought the injured 49ers could beat the Rams? I picked the Giants because they were kind of riding hot, and the Saints, they just figured things out all of a sudden. Yeah, nobody saw that one coming. 11% of people, you're lying. Okay, 0 people thought the Titans would win this game. I don't care it says 4%, they picked it for the memes. No shot anybody thought the Cardinals were losing that game. Okay, and the Chargers were riding hot, and they've fallen apart in the last 2 weeks. The Chargers fall off needs to be studied. And the last game I got wrong was the Bills, because the Patriots were all over the place, and they finally put it together, which is good. Shows that last week wasn't a complete fluke for the Patriots. I got some of my upset picks correct too. I picked the Panthers because people have too high hopes for the Dolphins. And I picked the Jaguars on Monday Night Football. I know my stuff. Sometimes. And my spread picks were much of the same. Also 8-6, pretty much the exact same of how they went. Rams, lose. Giants, lose. I did get this pick wrong because I didn't think the Raiders would play that bad. This got wrong. Cardinals wrong. Chargers wrong. But I did pick the Patriots and spread, so I thought it'd be a close game. It was. It just went the other way. This is why we do picks and spread. So let's start making the picks. We have on Thursday night the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. Both these teams are coming off of a loss against teams they were expected to beat. The Eagles, they ran into a tough team. The Broncos, great defense. I think the Eagles offense is also kind of garbage. That has to more do with their coordinator rather than their personnel. And for the Giants, we kind of overestimated them a little bit. Happens. Jackson Dart, still a rookie. This is not going to be a great matchup for him, to be honest. The Eagles defense is really good and has closed out a lot of their games this season. The Giants defense is also pretty good, but not nearly as good as the Eagles defense. And I think the Eagles offense is still going to be all over the place, but I think they're able to put it together for a win this week. And spread, I don't like this spread. I'm actually going to take the Giants here. I do not think the Eagles win by a touchdown. I think it's going to be an actually rather close game. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos versus the only winless team in the NFL, the New York Jets. The Broncos coming off a huge win against the Eagles, where they came back after being down big in the fourth quarter. Pretty impressive they were able to score 18 unanswered points in the fourth quarter against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Jets, I don't know what's going on with them. They can run the ball, but their defense is not good. Their head coach is a defensive coordinator, so I know he's giving his play calling to Steve Wilks. Might want to switch that up at this point, but yeah, this is rough for the Jets, and I don't think it gets much better. I don't think the Jets offense are going to be able to move the ball all that much. And the Broncos offense is going to be able to do enough to win this game. And spread, I'm actually going to take the Broncos here. I don't think it'll be all that close. Now we have the Arizona Cardinals versus the Indianapolis Colts. The Cardinals are coming off of an embarrassing loss against the Titans. How are you blowing that lead in that way? You had an interception, and you somehow let the Titans score a touchdown on it. That was bizarre. And then DeMarcado throws the ball outside of the back of the end zone. We saw that last week with Adonai Mitchell. Why'd you do it this week? Colts, meanwhile, they're pretty much rolling. However, the one flaw about the Colts is they haven't beaten many quality opponents. Most of their wins are against the bottom of the league. Yes, they did beat the Broncos, but admittedly, that was a bit fluky. But the Colts, they are still a good team. The Cardinals, that was an embarrassing loss against the Titans. However, I actually think the Cardinals upset this week. This is going to be a good test for the Colts. The Cardinals are a mid-range team. They can definitely be spicy and probably beat a few good teams on their schedule. Are the Colts able to prove they are consistently good and they can actually beat some decent teams and not just beat up on some bad teams? This is a good test for the Colts. I'm picking the Cardinals though. We'll see if the Colts prove me wrong. And the spread, that is quite the spread. Even if I was picking the Colts, I'm probably taking the Cardinals in the spread here. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers and Miami Dolphins. I mean, the Chargers are kind of falling apart right now, but so are the Dolphins. So one of these teams are going to be able to right themselves after this game. Chargers, they are dealing with a lot of injuries, and they've just lost Amarian Hampton for a month after losing their big left tackle in Joe Alt, after losing their other left tackle in Christian Darrisaw. They are getting pelted with injuries, so they're probably not going to be able to run the ball, but hey, they still have all their receivers, so as long as they're not hurt and Justin Herbert is able to throw the ball, they should be able to still score points. So I'm still picking the Chargers here. The Dolphins, I don't know, they're just falling apart. And the spread, I'm taking the Chargers here. I don't think this will be close. Now we have an AFC North divisional matchup with the Browns and Steelers. The Browns have a new starting quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, who actually looked pretty decent against the Vikings defense. The Vikings defense are no joke. The Steelers defense is also no joke. So, tough start for the rookie. And the Steelers, they are winning games. Not in the prettiest fashion, but they are winning. And if they can win this game, they would position themselves really good in the AFC North, especially since every other team is hurt, and the Browns are the Browns. AFC North matchups can always get weird. However, I'm still picking the Steelers here. And the spread, I'm a little bit iffy on this spread. If it was like 3.5, I would 100% take the Steelers, but 4.5 makes me nervous. Still going to pick the Steelers, though. Next up, we have the Cowboys and the Panthers. This is probably a matchup that nobody outside of the fans are going to watch because Panthers, yes, they did get a win. It was against the Dolphins. They're pretty much competing for the number 1 overall pick at this point. The Cowboys are coming off a big win against the Jets. Another game probably nobody outside of their fan base has watched. This is just not an interesting matchup. It feels pretty clear how this game is going to go. The Cowboys, that offense is playing excellent right now, despite not having CeeDee Lamb. And they could have him back pretty soon. The Panthers, I mean, if there's ever a chance for Bryce Young to show he can put up some points, it would be this game. This could be a somewhat sleeper game where it turns into a shootout all of a sudden, because both of these defenses are pretty terrible. However, the Cowboys' offense is just way better, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 38-24, something like that. And the spread, I don't think this will be all that close. And this might be one of the better matchups of this week. The Seahawks versus the Jaguars. The Seahawks are coming off a close loss against the Buccaneers. That was a big shootout there, and it was unfortunate that Sam Darnold threw a pick to end the game. The Jaguars, on the other hand, well, Trevor Lawrence threw a pick that was DPI, and Patrick Mahomes threw a pick that was a pick 6. And Trevor Lawrence had the weirdest game-winning touchdown you'll ever see. But the Jaguars are 4-1 and just beat the Chiefs. So they are riding high. Seahawks, tough loss, and they travel to Jacksonville, so long travel time. However, the Seahawks are really good on the road. The Jaguars, on the other hand, are really good at home this year. They are undefeated at home. One of those trends is going to break. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. They are rolling, and with a defense that forces a lot of turnovers, Sam Darnold has been a little turnover prone, and so have other players on their offense. This is possibly another game where the Jaguars can get 3+ turnovers, and the offense looks like it might be finding itself now. And the spread, of course, it's basically a pick'em spread. I'm taking the Jaguars here. Now we have the Rams versus the Ravens. I'm sure this could have been a really good matchup, but the Ravens are missing half their team, so it's no longer all that interesting. Lamar, he's probably not going to come back this week. It's tough to come back from a hamstring after just 1 week of sitting out. And their defense, still really injured. The Rams are coming off a big loss against the 49ers. They kind of needed that win if they wanted to really push in that division. Fortunately, it is still early in the year, but every one of those games count. But the Rams have a potential get-back game against the Ravens, which is strange to say, but the Ravens are basically playing a preseason squad right now. So I'm going to take the Rams here. And the spread, 7.5. Yeah, it's going to be like 30-10. Now we have the New England Patriots and New Orleans Saints. The Patriots are coming off a huge upset against the Bills. To be honest, I did think they would get one of those this year. I just didn't think it would happen in Buffalo. Call me a little crazy there. And the Saints are coming off a more mild upset. The Giants, they're not a great team, but they were kind of expected to beat the Saints. And the Saints have been playing teams close all year outside of that one game. So it was about time they finally got a win against a lower quality opponent. The Patriots, meanwhile, are not a lower quality opponent. If that win says anything, they are definitely pushing for a wild card spot at the least. Possibly the division if the Bills fall apart, but at least a wild card spot for the Patriots. And the Saints, they are pushing for a top 5 pick, so I'm going to pick the Patriots here. And the spread, you know what? A fair spread against the Saints. I'm taking the Patriots here, but the Saints, they've been playing teams close. If this was like 6.5, I'm taking the Saints. Now we have a pretty terrible matchup between the Titans and the Raiders. The Titans got a surprise win, but let's all be real, that was really fluky. And the Raiders are coming off a blowout loss against the Colts. The Raiders, I think, are a better team than the record says, but let's be real, probably not that much better. Geno Smith is turning the ball over constantly, and they were missing Brock Bowers for that game. They could be getting him back this week. We'll see. And Ashton Genty, well, when you're down 5 scores, it's really hard to use your running back. However, this should be a much lower scoring matchup, so Ashton Genty definitely has the opportunity to get a lot of touches this week, and I think that's the difference. So I'm going to pick the Raiders here. And the spread, a little iffy on the spread, but I'm also going to take the Raiders here. Now we have yet another really good matchup with the 49ers and Buccaneers. 49ers are coming off a big upset against the Rams, despite missing like half their players. And the Buccaneers are coming off a big shootout win against the Seahawks. I mean, the Buccaneers are rolling right now, and their only loss is against the Super Bowl champion Eagles, so nothing to be really ashamed about. The 49ers' only loss is against the Jaguars, who are also 4-1, so nothing to be ashamed about there. Two really good teams going against each other, and the 49ers could be getting some players back. They could be getting Brock Purdy back, they could be getting Ricky Pearsall back, and maybe Jawan Jennings as well, which is big. Unfortunately, no George Kittle this week, but maybe next week. So the 49ers are starting to get some of their players back. However, with how the Buccaneers are rolling so far, I don't think it'll be enough. I'm going to be taking the Buccaneers here. I wouldn't be surprised to see the 49ers win, though. And the spread, practically a pick'em. So I'm also going to take the Buccaneers here. Another matchup that could have been interesting, but one team has a bunch of injuries, specifically to their quarterback. And, well, the Bengals did trade for Joe Flacco, but how much is Joe Flacco going to do? He's a statue behind a terrible offensive line. Yeah, and the Packers are known for a really good defensive line. Specifically, one really good player on their defensive line. So I'm going to be taking the Packers here. I would be genuinely surprised if the Bengals managed to win this one. And the spread, you know, the Bengals did put up some points, and I don't have that much faith in the Packers. 14.5 is a bit aggressive for me. So I'm going to take the Bengals here on the spread. Probably going to be a 2-score win, just not 14.5. Now we have a great Sunday night matchup. The Detroit Lions, who come off a pretty convincing win against the Bengals, and the Chiefs, who lost against the Jaguars. The Lions, they look pretty much unstoppable on offense after week 1. They are putting up like 30, 40 points a game right now. And the Chiefs, well, their offense looks to finally be getting things rolling. The Jaguars defense is no slouch defense, and they were able to move the ball pretty effectively on them. The one pick six definitely changed the game, and they could have easily scored a touchdown. Look, Devin Lloyd made a great read on that play. I wouldn't say it's a fluke. It was really that one particular play, but I don't think it's going to be a regular thing for the Chiefs offense. They almost never turn the ball over, so the Lions defense is getting a lot of injuries again, so it looks like their offense will need to score 30, 40 points a game to keep on winning. The Chiefs defense, a little concerning there, but this could be a shootout type of game, And I actually trust the Chiefs in this game. Yes, they lost to the Jaguars, but the Jaguars are a good team. And though the Lions are rolling right now, I like what I saw from that Chiefs offense. And the Lions defense is looking a bit weak right now. And the spread, practically a pick'em. And the Chiefs are rightly favored in this game. And now we get to the Monday night games. Honestly, they really should stop with this doubleheader stuff. I'd rather just watch one of them. The first one is a little more interesting. The Bills versus Falcons. The Bills coming off a divisional loss against the Patriots. Wasn't really expecting that, but wasn't out of the question. The Falcons, they're coming from a bye and a pretty big win against the Commanders. The Falcons offense has been a little inconsistent. Like, they have the skill players to be really good, but they've just been kind of all over the place, putting 0 up against the Panthers and then putting up 34 against the Commanders. Would like to know what type of offense they are. Are they high flying or are they just kind of mid? We need to see that. And against the Bills, it's going to be a great test for that offense. The Bills, they need to stop playing down to competition, honestly. They are a Super Bowl contender and they have been playing down to competition for a lot of the season. So they really need to start getting things going so they don't drop games they shouldn't be losing. But I am going to take the Bills here. I trust Josh Allen a lot more in this game. In the spread, pretty fair spread. I'm going to take the Bills here. And the last Monday Night Football game, the Chicago Bears versus the Washington Commanders. Well, this had an iconic play last time these two teams met. We'll see if that happens again. Last year, this basically jump-started the Commanders' season that allowed them to go on a Cinderella run. For the Bears, it shut their season down. We'll see if that happens again this week. I don't think it'll be nearly that extreme, but the Bears, new head coach, new coaching staff, they've been kind of moving a little bit. They've been starting to pick up some steam over the past few weeks. The Commanders, they got Jaden Daniels back and they had a big win over the Chargers. They might get Terry McLaurin back this week. We'll see about that. Also, Jacory Krosky-Merritt, give him the ball more. Enough with this three-headed backfield. Jacory Krosky-Merritt is the most efficient running back in the NFL right now. Give him the ball more, and I guarantee your running game will be a lot better for it. You don't need to give the other two running backs so many touches when you have your rookie doing really well. Yes, that is a little bit of fantasy getting in there, but seriously, Jacory Krosky-Merritt is a very good running back. We've seen this since the preseason. Use him more. It works pretty well last week. And the Bears, we'll see if Caleb Williams can continue his ascension or if that was just a bit of a mirage. And the Bears defense, they are good, but so is the Commanders offense. So I'm going to take the Commanders here. And the spread is a little bit nerve-wracking of a spread. 3.5 I'd be more comfortable with. I'm going to still lean the Commanders here. I think they can win by, we'll say like about 6 or 7 points. But that'll be my picks for this week. Hopefully, this week won't be so extreme with the upsets and I actually have a good record this week. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and sub. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, check out some of my other videos that are on the screen right now. But I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.